to
Look What We Found.
We first identified our concerns by selecting a project that would allow fellow students and FCA members to become more aware of the dangers of dating violence in our home, school, and community. We also chose to get students aware of the predicament of sending explicit messages through text that is also known as sexting.
Our goal was to be able to get students to realize their rights to avoid dating violence and to detect its warning signs so that they may know how to prevent it. Also, with the issue of sexting on the rise, we decided that it would be a good idea to educate students on the controversial topic.
2. We were very fortunate to get original high school students, ex-display members, teachers, and the community involved.
1. We displayed previously used Stop the Violence boards for students in fact classes to view. By preparing and passing out surveys, which students filled out anonymously, we were able to receive more statistics. Later, we put together a skit that revealed the true dangers of dating violence, which will be aired on Don Welch's This and That sometime in April.
When our progress on this project began August the 1st, and we are still to this very day in motion as we are continually coming up with even more ideas to get students involved.
Where this project was compiled for the most part at Ridgeland High School.
How our project was carried out by doing the first step, which was getting students aware of the big issue, dating violence. We did this by teaching students the warning signs that can lead up to violence in a relationship. We also gave them skills to be proactive in preventing it. In order to educate students about their rights, we had the Teen Dating Bill of Rights posters displayed throughout the school.
In order to carry out our plan, we came up with the idea of getting statistics by using a witness box. These boxes were then placed around the school for easy access. The purpose of these so-called witness boxes was to get students to anonymously give examples of dating violence they had experienced or witnessed. We later had students and FCCLA members sign pledges to not commit an act of violence. These pledges were then chained together and displayed in the cafeteria. Soon we will be presenting a skit based on the dangers of dating violence to our facts classes and having it aired on a local news channel.
To follow up, we know for a fact that we not only further our own education, but the education of others through this project regarding the problematic situations that go along with dating violence.
This is the cycle of violence and domestic abuse. This cycle starts off with abuse, which in this section your partner could and probably would lash out with aggressive belittling and violent behavior. This form of abuse is designed to show you who is boss.
The second section is guilt. After your partner has abused you, they feel guilty, but not over what he or she has done. The guilt in which they feel is the possibility of being caught or having to face the consequences of their actions.
Next is excuses. This is where he or she will blame the situation on you. For example, if you weren't so worthless, I wouldn't have to hit you. This process is meant to degrade in order to gain control and assert authority.
I only have half my card. Sorry. Normal behavior. The abuser does everything in their power to make things, in a sense, normal. This is meant to keep the victim in the relationship. In this period, they may act like nothing has ever happened. This gives the victim a false sense of security and hopes that the abuser will change for the betterment of the relationship.
Fantasy and planning. Your abuser begins to fantasize about abusing you again. He or she spends a lot of time thinking about what you've done wrong and how they can make you pay for it.
And lastly is the setup. This occurs when the abuser sets the victim up and puts his or her plan into motion, creating a situation where they can justify their reasonings for abusing their victim. With the inspiration of pamphlets used in our facts classes that were generously provided by our speaker, Miss Anovia, we came up with the 14 behavioral signs of dating violence. The first is extreme jealousy, such as calling constantly or monitoring the victim everywhere they may go. Secondly is controlling. They will interrogate the victim after he or she has spoken to someone. They may even threaten to hurt themselves or someone else if you make an attempt to leave them. Unrealistic expectations. For example, they may ask you to keep a perfectly clean house or a perfect weight and look. Isolation. They cut you off from friends, even family members. The blame game. They begin to blame others for all their problems. Everyone else seems responsible for their feelings. For example, you make me angry. Hypersensitivity, such as they can get insulted easily or overreact to common disappointments. They may begin to strike out by being cruel to animals and children. Verbal abuse. They may constantly criticize you. Demanding. The abuser expects the victim to do exactly what he or she tells them to do. They also think that whatever he or she says is more important than anything anyone else may have to say.
Sudden mood swings. They may at first appear sweet and then explode in a matter of seconds.
Past battering. This is where they have abused other victims in past relationships.
Threats of violence. And then lastly, Mr. Wonderful, where he acts nice in front of others and behaves shocked when confronted with the abuse in public.
Abusers often use fear, guilt, shame, and intimidation to wear their victims down. This process is used to get the victim under their thumb.
In this project, we have come to believe that teenagers have the ability to identify the early warning signs of dating violence. They need to understand the fact that they indeed have choices. They also need to realize that they are valuable and beautiful people who deserve to be treated with the utmost respect. No one deserves an abusive relationship.
Thank you very much.